All right, guys, so we have 4 more problems to go over. For the first 2 are going to be building our parabolas based on our focus. So we're going to find our A value based on the focus, draw the parabola just like we did on Monday. And then the second 2, we are going to be given the equation. So we're going to have to find the focus, find the directrix, and then decide and then draw the parabola. So let's get going. Example 3. All of these have an origin at the vertex, or a vertex at the origin. So that makes it a lot easier for us. So number 3 says an equation of a parabola with a vertex at the origin and a focus at -0, -5. Okay, so things that we need to notice. This gives me a focus at a y point, which means that my equation is going to be y equals ax squared because my focus has a y point. Also, since my vertex is at the origin, remember my parabola encompasses, or the focus isn't the center, then this is going to be a negative value. And then my directrix is going to be 5 at a positive 5. So now we need to build our equation. I know that A is equal to 1 over 4C. So C is where our focus is. It's the -5. So A being our A value for our y equals ax squared is equal to 1 over 4 times a -5. That's equal to 1 over a -20. This is the absolute value, so it's equal to just 1 over 20. Now, because this is a -x squared, because it's encompassing my -y, my equation is equal to y equals -1 over 20 x squared. So what we had to do is we had to find our C. We drew it, making sure that our focus was in between our 2 lines for our parabola. And then, since we knew our C, we found our A value. Again, it's the absolute value because this technically could move. We know that a parabola can move up and down. Because ours is at the vertex, you'll notice that the -20 and the -20 are the same. But if we were moving this up and down, it might not be. So that means that what we're doing is we're making it the absolute value, and then we're deciding if it's a positive or negative parabola. All right, example 4. Now again, this is at the origin. Write an equation of a parabola with a vertex at the origin and a focus at 1/2, 0. So my focus is at 1/2, 0. So my focus, this is the x value. So that means that it is x equals ay squared because my focus has an x value. We're going to draw our graph. You have one, but I don't have one on my whiteboard. I'm going to put my focus, and it's at 1/2. Now, if my focus is at 1/2, then that means that my directrix is at -1/2. And then my parabola, because it begins at the origin and encompasses my focus, is there. Now, we know that this is a positive because it's encompassing my positive x values. So I'm going to have x is equal to ay squared, and I know it's positive. My absolute value of A is equal to 1 over 4C, and my C value is 1/2. So A is equal to 1 over 4 times 1/2. 4 times 1/2 is 2, so it's 1 over 2. So now I need to write the equation. X is equal to 1 over 2 y squared. So we have to find our c, which is always in our focus at 0. And because our c value is given at the x, then that means that we have to use our x is equal to a y squared. Because this is positive and it's encompassing positive, we know it's a positive value. Then we had to do our plug in our c value to get our a value and plug that back into our equation. I know I went through it fast, so please let me know if you have questions on it. I have 2 more that we have to do. Mr. Garth, do you have any questions? My husband's here telling me if I need to answer any questions. And he says currently he has no questions. My dog keeps barging in too, so if she comes in again, then maybe you'll get to see her. All right, so example 5. Now, the difference between examples 3 and 4 and examples 5 and 6 is that instead of giving us a focus, it's giving us the equation. We have to determine the focus and the directrix and draw it. But that's okay because we already know certain equations. So this is giving me the equation y equals -1/16 x squared. So it's given me this. But I know, since this is my a value, and I already know what a is equal to, I know that a is equal to 1/4c. So how am I going to find c? I'm going to put -1/16 is equal to 1/4c. So what that means is that -16 is equal to 4c. To find c, I'm going to divide by 4 because c is being multiplied by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. So my focus is at -4. Is it -4x or is it -4y? Well, the way we know is because this is a y, so that means that our focus is at a -4y. So my focus is here. And when I write it, I'm not just going to write my c value. I'm going to write that the focus is at 0, -4. Now, if my focus is at -4, then where's my directrix? It has to be at +4. They have to be equidistant from the vertex. Since my vertex is at 0, it has to be 4 away, which is at +4. Now I get to draw my parabola. Now, I know that my parabola is downward facing because of this negative. Also, it's going to encompass my focus. So we have solved for our focus by knowing that our a value is equal to 1/4c. We know our directrix is equidistant from 0. So if this is at -4, my directrix has to be at +4. And then we've drawn our parabola knowing that it encompasses our focus. Mr. Garth, any questions?
No questions.
All right, thanks. All right, last one, guys. There's a set of homework on the website. So if you have questions, let me know on that. Let's look at our last one. I have x is equal to 1/12y squared. Okay, so first, my focus, is it going to be on the x-axis or on the y-axis? You know it's going to be on the x-axis because it's an x equals. So let's find what our focus is. I like this side better. We know that 1/4c is equal to our a value, the value in front of y squared. So it's equal to 1/12. So that means that 4c is equal to 12. And then we have to solve for c. So we're going to divide by 4. So C is equal to 3. So my focus is equal to 3. Now, is it 3 on the x-axis or on the y-axis? We already said it was on the x-axis because of our equation. So it's at a positive 3. That's my focus. We know that my vertex is at 0, 0. And we know that my parabola encompasses my focus. My directrix has to be equidistant, the same distance from our origin. So if this is positive 3, then it has to be at negative 3. And this is my directrix. So we can find all of that given this equation. Again, no factoring, so you should all be throwing a party. We are just taking this equation, 1 over 4c is equal to a. Do your homework, be amazing, and I will talk to you soon.